Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is 1 p.m. here in Chicago, Illinois. That means it's time for another live stream. Today is June 14th, 2021. It is a Monday. That means it's time for a Monday mukbang. Today's Monday mukbang is not running related. I guess it's kind of running related, but I walked over to the local donut shop. For me, that's Stan's Donuts. There's actually two of these locations within walking distance, and at the local grocery store, they sell like half dozen and dozen donut boxes. So like I have three locations where I can get this kind of donut within a walking distance from my house. So yeah, so there's that. And then once this one here, my daughter here saw the bag of donuts, she was like, "What are you gonna do with those donuts, Dad?" And she's like, "Can I eat the donuts too?" So I've got a hanger on her, I guess. I don't know, a Klingon over here. She wants some donuts too. So I'm gonna let her have some donuts. But before we get into the donuts today, let's say hi to everyone that's listening on the podcast version. Hope you guys are having a good run. I'm going to be talking about donuts this entire time, so it's a good time to be running, I guess. Not that you got to earn your donuts. If you want to eat donuts. But, you know, they are particularly tasty after a long run today. And today I had my first workout since the last race I ran, so I'm definitely feeling a little tired. I'm thinking the body could use a couple extra sugars. You don't need to justify it. I'm trying to justify it. I don't need to do that. I'm just gonna have fun with those. Hopefully you guys are having a good run. And everyone listening on YouTube after the fact, but not live, welcome to you guys as well. And maybe you guys have some donuts too, or else something tasty to eat for the Monday mukbang today. First things first, though, let's also say happy birthday to Martha today. Chris Yao came in here in the chat saying Martha's birthday cowbell. Let's get it going. Yeah. We got to turn up the volume on that. Here we go. Where it is. That was way too quiet. Let's do it one more time. There. Oh, it's going to be loud. It was loud. But then we got the cowbell for that today. Awesome. Sarah Mims is here. She's saying listening in and hoping no one from work calls. Awesome. Casey A says, "Hey, Cohen, happy birthday to Martha." Rainy Monday in Massachusetts. Ooh. So it is a beautiful day here in Chicago. And today's workout, I had no wind to a slight tailwind on I did a fartlek today. So most of my on sessions, at least going south, I had like basically kind of like not that much of a wind, but wind picked up and I could see like the lake getting a little bit frothy on my way back. So then I had a really giant headwind, and now there is a swim advisory. So small craft and swim advisory. What are you doing? Are you making fun of me? Okay. She's making all these mouth movements. I think she's pretending. Am I your mannequin? Yeah. Is it, or not a mannequin, a ventriloquist dummy? Is that what I am? Yeah. Like a puppet? Yeah. Okay. But the water got all frothy and had tons of wind. And now I was going to take the girls to the lake today to go swimming. We were going to ride our scooters and I'm taking my longboard and we were going to go hop in the water in the afternoon, but I don't think the lifeguards won't be out, I don't think, today. And I don't think it'd be safe to do that. We won't get that far in the water, but they also say like waves is one thing, but they also say a current's going to be pulling people out. And I haven't seen it, but I've seen stories of people getting pulled out, sucked out into the deeper depths of the lake from the shore. So and I was going to swim tomorrow too, but the advisory goes till tomorrow. So we'll have to. All right. I think you need some donuts. I was trying to like lay the foundation for the conversation for today, but you are obviously a little distracted. Yeah. Okay. All right. I bought 3 donuts today. Stan's donuts are delicious. They're not cheap though. 3 donuts were $9, so that's a lot. So the first one we'll do is we'll start with the glazed. Is that okay if we start with the glazed? That's kind of where I would like to start. It's a glazed donut. It is a fried donut with the sugar glaze. This is, I think, in my mind, this is a great place to start if you're testing out a new donut shop. It's kind of like, the gold standard of what kind of donuts a shop can make. Here, let me cut you off some. There you go. Is that enough for you? Mm-hmm. All right. Come on, cheers. Cheers. Enjoy your donut. Are they good? Yeah. This is a good donut. Mm-hmm. I would say compared to like a Krispy Kreme, for example, there's a lot more structure to the donut in here. Let's see if we can get focused on there. So there's a lot more kind of like body to the donut. It's almost kind of like the lightest cake donut you've ever had, which I'm not a huge fan of cake donuts, but I do love glazed fried donuts. And this one's a real good one, though. I think it's good. And it's large, though. That's the thing. All right, let's scroll down. See what we got. Eric said, need to microwave that glaze for 10 seconds. That would have been good. That would have been a good idea. But I don't think she had the patience for that. I don't have the patience for it. Yes. Uh-huh.
This means no.
Yes.
This means yes.
Okay. I'm glad we got a system worked out. Mark says, is it a cake donut? No, it is a fried donut. And would you say the donut has a firmer midsole? Yes. Yes, it is. It's a little bit more firmer, a little bit more ground feel. Nice. Nice work. Rainwinter says, donuts. Yeah, these are good. These are good. I was thinking, I'm not going to be able to eat all these donuts, but I don't think I'm going to have a problem. I might have a little bit of a full belly by the time we're done, but I didn't eat lunch today, so.
I might need to go potty after this.
Okay, that's fine. And, I was not being a very good dad today. So the kids today for breakfast had chocolate milk and I think little bags of chips. I kept asking them if they wanted to eat anything. Oh, they had leftover pizza from last night. We ordered pizza. So, yeah, we're firing on all cylinders on Monday. Well, but maybe this is a good way to kind of get the week started. We all find our motivations different ways. Robert says, what's up, everyone? Had a great move yesterday. Awesome. All settled into the new place with internet installed. That's fast. Good work. And after moving that, I managed to crank a 25-minute 5K. Hope all are well. Awesome. Great work. Man, getting it done on all fronts. Good job, Robert. And Albert says, do you guys have Tim Hortons down in the States? It's really popular in Canada. I'm aware of Tim Hortons. I don't think I've ever been to a Tim Hortons. And I do believe that there are some in the U.S. But they don't do well here for whatever reason. I've read actually a lot of different case studies on why that is. And the thing, I just think it's no one here grew up with them. And so people don't go to them. I think it seems like a real weird excuse. It seems like that's a marketing problem, but I don't know. For whatever reason, Tim Hortons aren't big here in the United States. Boomdog says, so are these donuts a zero drop firmer ride? This one is a little bit more firmer of a midsole, but it's a pretty high stack.
I finished my donut.
You finished yours?
Mm-hmm.
You're probably pretty full then, huh?
I'm not very
You're not very full? Do you want more donut?
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, let me catch up and then I'll get the next one.
Okay.
I think you're going to like the next one. Do you like chocolate? Then you might not. You might like the next one then.
I love chocolate.
Dave says, though, Dunkin' Donuts is a Tim Hortons of the USA. I could see that. I could certainly see that. I grew up in the East Coast, so I remember my parents loved Dunkin' Donuts. We had McDonald's somewhat regularly, but my parents had Dunkin' Donuts all the time. And my mom loved the coffee. She got it extra creams, extra sugars, lighter and sweeter than if you had coffee ice cream. That's how she always did it. But we always had them. I remember when Munchkins came out, the donut holes. That was revolutionary. People got them for kids. You got them in those little boxes. It was amazing. But yeah, Tim Hortons, not a thing for us here. But Frank says it is in a lot of border towns, Buffalo, etc. That's what I've heard. All right.
Oh, that was really sweet.
Backframe says, is the donut a Profly midsole or Flight Foam Blast? This one, if I were to equate it, I would think that a normal, let's say a Krispy Kreme donut, a glazed, is probably more like a Zoom X.
Finish your donut.
I did finish my donut. Are you ready for another one?
Uh-huh.
Okay. What we'll switch up the order because this one, I don't know if you're actually going to like it. This next one, because it's got filling inside. It's got something in it. So the next one I thought I would get, I sometimes get these, but I thought it would be fitting for today, Boston cream. So another fried donut with filling on the inside. Now, hey, can you go get me like something to cut with, like a fork or a knife or something from the kitchen? I'm not gonna be able to tear that open. So I would say, like, if I were to compare it, I would say like a Krispy Kreme is like Zoom X, or maybe FF Blast, because it's just super squishy, right? So this one is somewhere in the middle.
In the drying area,
Okay.
and it's all drying.
Perfect. So I think that the one that I just ate, since it's a little bit firmer, but in a good way, I'm gonna call it more like, Power Run, maybe. Or since we're talking about glazed donut, maybe it's more like Hoka's compression molded EVA. Next, though, we've got this Boston cream. So I felt like that's a very fitting to have on a runner's podcast. You don't want half of this donut, do you? You don't need half this donut. That's a lot of donut.
This one's hot.
You know what? I'll just give you the part that probably doesn't have as much filling on the inside, because I don't know if you're going to like the filling. It's kind of like pudding on the inside. All right?
I love pudding.
You do love pudding, but a lot of times kids don't like that kind of filling on the inside. Does that work for you?
Mm-hmm.
Do you need more? I think there's another donut too. So see, I kind of, I didn't cut it in half. So I gave her like a small portion of it. But she's looking at me like, what's up with this portion size? Is it good? All right.
I like it.
4-year-old approved. All right. ZZ asks, random question. For someone who's out of shape and trying to get back into running, would you recommend slowly running up the total time of the run or distance? Time. I would say, like, you want to go, like, I would shoot for every other day. And maybe like,
the frosting is really good.
Do you like the Boston cream filling? Okay.
Uh-huh.
But I would say, ZZ, shoot for like 30 minutes or 45 minutes or 20 minutes or whatever your time is, and just go out. Run, walk, mix it up however you want. If you want to do it structured, like 1 minute run, 1 minute jog, 1 minute run, 1 minute walk, that kind of thing. You could do it, or just like, run down the hill, walk up the hill kind of thing. That'll work too. But work on your time. And then also like creating the habit of running regularly, like every other day, not less than once every 3 days. So like building that habit is the important thing. And also keeping it in mind as you're starting out that you want to be coming out again in a couple days. So don't overdo it any one day. That's going to help you get through it the most safely, lowering the risk of injury and increasing the likelihood that you're going to enjoy it and see rapid progress. So that's my thoughts. All right, I'm going to get into this Boston cream. I feel like this donut's a little bit overcooked. If you look on the bottom, it's pretty dark. So the donut is this one not the best.
I just want to wash some chocolate off.
Okay, so not the best Stan's donut I've ever had, but the cream filling is nice. Maybe they cook it a little extra, knowing that there's going to be filling on the inside, and their chocolate glaze is so delicious. Crazy. I was currently scrolling through the Dunkin' Donuts assorted box menus on Grubhub. That's funny. Remy says, I hope there's an apple fritter in the mix. I normally, when I go to Stan's, normally I pick an apple fritter, and I don't normally get the Boston cream, but I thought today I would go with the Boston. But I do love a good apple fritter, but not today. Yeah, Mark said it looks like it's a dry donut. A little bit. It could use, the camera's not picking up the filling really well, but it could use a little bit more filling, I feel like. If I were to judge Stan's on just this, which I won't, and I've been eating there for years, I wouldn't be that bullish on it. But overall, it's a good donut. Yes.
I kind of think it needs one sprinkle of salt and then a bit less filling in it.
Mm-hmm. You want more frosting and less filling? And you want sprinkles? I didn't get any donuts with sprinkles today, unfortunately.
Okay. Next time you do it.
Okay, next time I'll do it. All right. Albert's going to get some Tim Hortons today after work. Go for it. Yeah, she's waiting on that third donut. This baby's waiting for the donut. She sure is. I think like this is the most attention that I've gotten from her, except for otherwise when we're in the pool, because then she wants me to like pick her up out of the water from time to time on her flotation device. Jen says, Stan's old-fashioned series of donuts are my usual go-to. We'll get to that for number 3. Those are my go-tos as well. Even though I don't normally love old-fashions, because I do prefer fried donuts, but old-fashions remind me of my dad, because my dad, that's what he would always get from the donut shop, like Dunkin' Donuts mainly. And he would get an old-fashioned, no glaze, no chocolate, no nothing on it. And I was like, that's the most boring donut ever, Dad. Why do you eat those? He's like, this is my favorite. And I'm wondering if maybe he ate those because I wouldn't, because then we got like this kind of situation where the kids invade. Why don't you eat your donut? There's an even better donut coming that you're going to like even more. If you don't like that one, you don't have to eat it. But yeah. So speaking of the Boston, Shannon wants to say, what shoe would you compare? You want the what?
I don't like the donut.
You don't like this donut? Okay. Do you want to hang out and watch TV for a little bit, and then I will I'll let you know when the next donut comes.
That's supposed to be back from being.
I'll call you when the next donut comes up. Good. All right. So I ran in the Boston 10 today, which I think the way I got the Boston 10, they didn't get sent to me. I bought them myself. But Ben Johnson on Instagram posted a photo of his, and he said, like, I found them on this website that's selling them. And I don't think they were supposed to. You know, sometimes like the retailers get them and they don't know that they're supposed to hold on to them for a certain date. And all of a sudden, like their systems will start selling them. So I saw that. I bought a pair. Now that website doesn't have those shoes anymore. And no other website seems to have them yet either. But I was able to run in today. They're fun. A lot of fun. Completely different than the Boston 9. Like I'm to the point where I feel like I see where they're going. They could have very easily not like created a new shoe and it would have been a hit and made the Boston 10 something more similar to the Boston 9. Here, why don't you bring me the big remote and I can fix it? Oh, I'm sorry, she's having some problems with the TV. Like the screensaver's on or something like that. The thing that it most reminds me of the Adios Pro in a good way. So I think that's awesome because you got the Light Strike Pro, you've got the carbon rods in it. It's a lot of fun to run in, but it's kind of like a stripped down version or like a knockdown version of it. So I feel like we've got the Adios Pro and then you got Endorphin Pro. They made like an Adios Speed. I feel like that's kind of where it fits in, although it's not as versatile as the Endorphin Speed is, but it's kind of like a lot of the ride is very familiar. The foams are similar. Definitely can be used by a lot of people for racing marathons, really good for workouts. So that's where it is. It's less pleasant for me to run at slow paces than a Boston would be, but it's more fun to run at faster paces than a Boston would be. And it doesn't really remind me of the Boston 8 or the Boston 9, except the fit is quite excellent. So those things are consistent, but it reminds me the most of the Adios Pro. So that's Wednesday's video. I should have maybe I'll just put this, copy it, slide it right into the video. Then I'm all done then. Mike House says we're going to talk about Boston Green 10. Will says, what is the new Boston then? If Boston 10 is an all new shoe, will there be something more traditional from Adidas? I think that's what they're making the Solar Boost to be. But like the Boston 9 wasn't like an everyday trainer. So like the Solar Boost doesn't really fit. So I'm not sure. Raymond says, since I don't have donuts, I'm going to toast a piece of bread and put Nutella on it. Not as good a substitute. But that is something that I do feed that to my kids for breakfast quite a bit. More than I'd like to admit. But yeah. Michael Walker says, after my last marathon training session, my Pegasus Turbos are done. What Nike can I replace them with? It's a great question, Michael. And the answer, frankly, is I'm not sure. Because there's no Turbo 3. If there were Turbo 3, that'd be the obvious answer. I really think that the Peg 38 is probably the closest thing that you're going to get to it in the lineup. Now, maybe the Tempo Next Percent. But the Tempo Next Percent isn't as versatile as the Turbo is going to be. the next percent, the tempo next, you really got to be using that on workouts or your race day. So that's kind of like, it does kind of like half of what the turbo did really well. So, yeah. Amir says, currently having instant Korean noodles with kimchi I got from store. Hungry at 2:30 a.m. There you go. Ramen at night, so good. I'm surprised that has not become like a late night thing in any city in the U.S., at least as far as I know. It's just, I mean, I guess the problem is that like late night boiling hot liquids probably not a good combination for the most part, but also really good like Saturday mornings, for example. Really good. Paul Kane says, listen to the drop on my weekend long run. Really good conversation. Lasted the full 10 miles. Awesome. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I did listen to like the beginning part, you know, where they talk about their running and whatever shoes they're running in. But then once it got to me, I'm like, I hear enough of me. So I didn't listen to that part, but I did enjoy that, talking with them. And thanks for listening, Paul. I had a lot of fun on that conversation. It was a good one. Sean Devlin says, I'm probably trying the Audio 6. I'm not sure about the new Boston stack height. Yeah, I'm wondering, and I wasn't that interested in the Audios, but I might try it now, given what I experienced with the Boston 10. If the Audio 6 is going to be basically become the new Boston, and the Boston 10 is now like something else, and maybe like, I mean, for me, what I think is, I think a lot of people will now really want to race Boston in the Boston 10. Or in the, you know, like the Boston shoe. I could see that, and maybe that's the goal that they were going for from Adidas. And then it gives the Adios kind of like more of a purpose. It seems to be getting very niche with the way that shoes had kind of like changed over the last 5 prior iterations. So, well, yeah, here you go. Sentinel Matt said the exact same thing before I said it. Yep. He seems to be leaning a bit in the direction of what the Boston used to be. Maybe. I mean, that's where I'm thinking right now. I'll have to try them out. But Sean did say the other thing I want to talk about was not sure about the new Boston stack height. When you're going slow, you notice it. When you're running hard, I did some threshold efforts and some marathon pace efforts today. At both of those, you don't notice that stack height. It all kind of works. I feel like I think that there's some tinkering that they can do on the ratio of Light Strike Pro to Light Strike. To make it a little bit more enjoyable at speed, but like there's a lot of like Adios Pro-ness to it. So I think also for those people that were like dying to get the Adios Pro, but never could get a pair, I think you'll be able to get a pair of these easy once they finally release. I don't know when the actual release date is, so I think they'll sell a ton of these. Joshua Relton says, how should I be tracking my distance / pace in Chicago? Garmin is super inaccurate. I'd say one is like, if that's a big concern of yours, I would say one thing that you can do is try to really get good. If you're going to be, anytime you're doing marathon pace miles in your buildup, really try and get a feel and think about what that feels like to do that. It'll be hard to kind of gauge that based on, you know, you're in the race, there's adrenaline, there's thousands of other people around you and people cheering. Okay, just put them on the table. They're your sisters. So that's what I would do, try to get a good sense of the feel. Stay with your pace group. That'll also help you in terms of, and then you don't have to think about it at all. All you got to do is slot into the group, look at the shoulders ahead of you, and just zone out. That's another way. The other thing you could do is keep in mind that there are mile markers every mile. I don't think there's kilometer markers, but there are. I mean, there might be at every 5K, but there are mile markers all throughout the course. So at most, you're 1 mile away from another reading, and then you can always kind of like check yourself and say like, all right, that last mile was a little hot, or that mile was a little bit slow, so we got to adjust a little bit. But ultimately, my main thing would say is get used to running by feel, because that's your GPS watch isn't going to be able to help you in Chicago, or get a foot pod that can give you pace and distance data that's not GPS dependent. That's the main reason I started running with that foot pod. You ready for a new donut?
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to tell me something?
Yes.
What were you going to tell me?
I
Oh, you just want to give me a hug. Thank you. I love your hugs. All right. Third donut for today. These are one of my favorites that I get from Stan's.
What is it?
I get it every time.
Strawberry?
You think I'll get a strawberry donut? I got
Ooh.
chocolate old fashioned with chocolate frosting on top. Would you like some of this?
Yes.
All right.
I'm gonna see if I like it.
I'm pretty sure, since you're a little chocolate monster, that you are going to like this one. So I'll give you half of that donut. You can have that half with the sprinkle that accidentally fell on it. All right. I even gave her more than half. So I only have like this little part of it. But yeah, this is super tasty. Super delicious donut. Do you like it? Awesome. All right.
Super. That's for sure.
Yeah, Remy B Real says, wonder what they'll do with the Adidas 7 that you could use a refresh. Was there ever even a version 2 of that? I don't know. This is good. I feel like in their old fashions, they're putting something in here that is not in a lot of people's old fact. I think there's just maybe just extra vanilla or something. There's a different flavor in here other than, so you're not just eating like cake in a donut shape. It's really delicious. Maybe it's in there because there's the old fashioned donut, then there's a glaze, then there's the chocolate frosting. So there's a lot going on in here. Michael Ryan wants to know, did you get your non-custom 38s? I ordered them. They were back ordered for the color that I ordered. So
what was the first one?
The first one was a glazed donut, remember?
Oh yeah. It's the yellow, it's this one.
Yeah.
And now we also have these.
Yeah. All right, let's see. Pia Johnson says, "Hey Kabuzi, are you following the Euros, football/soccer? I don't follow any sports anymore, other than running. Really, that's the only thing that I really ever watch. And even then, I don't watch like everything. But football, I don't know. There's a lot of players, a lot of teams, a lot of leagues, and there's just a lot, and it's not that easy to watch all the time in the U.S., especially because of like time zones and stuff. So I'm afraid I don't follow." Rami Yuana says, "Is GPS signal bad throughout Chicago Marathon or just certain spots?" Certain spots are worse than others. Anytime you're downtown, one, because there's tall buildings, two, because sometimes you're running underground, like in a tunnel, not like a long time in a tunnel, but we have like streets that are built like one story above. So like you think you're on the ground level, but that ground level is actually like one level of a bridge kind of like up. And so sometimes you're running on the lower levels of those.
This donut is the goodest donut I've ever tasted.
Yeah, I thought you would like this one. So like whenever you're downtown, so like you reach downtown, I think you start downtown and you end downtown clearly, but you also loop back to downtown. So you're hitting it 3 or 4 times. Do you have a question?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
This is the most delicious donut ever than the other 2 donuts.
You like this one the best?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. I'm glad you like it.
Chocolate is my favorite
Yeah.
thing.
So I mean, there's lots of like spots where it gets real goofy. Frank says, "How far you end up running to finish Chicago?" I don't know. I'll have to see what like my last one, because the last one I did, I had a foot pod, so I'm not sure how much longer it was. It wasn't 27, so it wasn't like I was running 0.8 longer just because I'm not running tangents. I think it was probably closer to like 26 and a half.
San Diego.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Rainwater says, "How accurate are the Garmin wrist heart rate readings?" I think that all the brands are like similarly off per person. Now, how much they're off for me is going to be different than how off there are for other people. But for me, like all the brands, basically, if I try to get a wrist rate rating, it might work for a little bit, but then after a while, it'll just the readings are crazy, and they're all just pegged super high. So that's kind of that's why I always use a heart rate, an external monitor for heart rate. Let's see. Right, Amir says he's going to bed now. Got to run in the morning. He's got a police physical test. All right, Amir. Good luck with that. I wonder what's in the police physical test. That's what I want to know.
You go to bed at daytime?
All right. Tasteful Chaotic says, apologies if you've already mentioned it, but when is your first try? Mine is the 1st of August. Some people live in different parts of the world, and so it's past their bedtimes already for some people. Can you believe that? Isn't that weird? It's very weird. My first try is August 29th. It's a Sunday.
I think it's August 25.
No, it's August 29th.
Okay.
But I'm very good at messing up dates. So you might be right, but I'm pretty sure it's August 29th. But good luck on your first triathlon.
Why does he look like he's wearing Marina?
She's wearing a graduation hat. I think that's what that is.
Why is her skin blue then?
I think that's just the color coming through on our computer a little bit different. All right.
Kind of looks like it's tan.
All right. Set Nomad says, Float Ride Run Fast Pro had an update recently. It's even lighter than the Sub 2. Half as light, I think. Did it really? Was it a recent update? I just looked at them the other day, and I felt like it was the same shoe that I've seen. So, interesting. Frank says, chocolate old fashioned is not as good as a plain old fashioned. You think? No, I see. I like I think they also make this, and I was kind of going back and forth. They make a regular old fashioned with chocolate frosting on it. The double chocolate is probably a little bit too much chocolate for me. She says she loved it, but she hasn't really eaten much of it. So I might be eating the rest of her donut. But I feel like if I eat the rest of her donut, she's gonna be mad at me later. So we'll see. We'll see what I do with that.
I thought it would be. That was too much.
Mark Chankogo says he likes the French cruller. That's probably my favorite donut. You know why? Because you get much more surface area of glaze.
Daddy, I think the filling donut is that one.
I think you're right.
And the chocolate donut is that one. And the first one is that one.
She's trying to figure out these dots. And she's trying to peg each one of the donuts we ate to one of these 4 colors. I think you're right. So French crullers have always been my favorite since I was probably about her age. And we would get bunches of donuts from Dunkin' Donuts. After college, I had this job out in the suburbs. I worked at like a title company. It was a really weird job.
In Hawaii.
Yeah, it looks like there's some palm trees in there. Hey, are you done eating your donut? Okay. I used to work at this title company, and it was a job that I just really just hated being at. One of my buddies worked there, and so that was like the only reason I kept working. And I had graduated from college, and he was still in college, and he was like the summer intern. Hey, and so we both worked there for the summer. And basically, once he went back to school in the fall, I was like, this place, I can't work here anymore. So I quit my job there. But there were some times where I would go, and there was this like little like hole in the wall donut shop right across the St. Charles River. I think that's which river it was. Right across the river, there's this little donut shop, and I would stop by. And every time I went in, there was 5 people in this place all the time. One person working behind the counter, and 4 old dudes at the one and only table in the donut shop. They were always there every single day. And the first time I go in there, they look at me and they're like, "Hey, this must be your first time in here." And I was like, "It is." They're like, "Welcome." Like, thanks. I've been driving by this donut shop for a couple of weeks now, and I've been meaning to stop in, and I'm here today. They're like, "Great. What can I get you?" So I'm looking at all the donuts, and they got like a quarter of this case of donuts is full of crullers, and a variety of crullers, and I had never seen anything like that before. This would have been like 2000. So this would have been like 20 years ago. Cruller technology had not advanced that far yet. And so only crullers I'd ever seen were just regular crullers. But this place had like vanilla frosting, strawberry frosting with sprinkles. I mean, and it wasn't like a fancy donut shop. Like everything about this place was just surly. It was like the grumpiest people that worked with sugar I've ever met. But they had these amazing crullers. And so I basically ordered a bag full of crullers for that day. Well, yeah.
This looks like the chocolate donut.
Mm-hmm.
This looks like the filling donut.
Yep.
This looks like the sugar donut. This looks like a strawberry
donut. Do you want me to get a strawberry donut next time?
Yeah.
Okay, next time. So I'm ordering some of these donuts, and I basically am thinking I'm just going to order a bunch of these crullers. Well, I didn't want any of this. I don't like vanilla frosting that much, and I don't like strawberry frosting that much. So I was going to get regular ones and some with the chocolate frosting. And I was like, can I have 2 crullers, and then I'll have one with chocolate on top? And they're like, I'll get you the donuts, but that's not what you call them. That's not how you order them in here.
Frosting tastes like strawberries.
You think strawberry frosting tastes like strawberries?
Mm-hmm.
I bet you it does. All right, we'll find out maybe next week, okay? Are you done with your donut?
No.
Okay. And so they're like, but you got to order them right. You can't order them that way. You can't order them as crullers. And I'm like, those right there? Can I just have those? You're like, you got to order them right. I'm like, how do I order them? He goes, these are tractor tires. And he pulls up the other tray. They're crullers with chocolate. These are tractor tires with dirt. So would you like to place your order again? And I was like, yes, sir. Can I have 2 tractor tires and 1 tractor tire with dirt? He goes, there you go. So I had the tractor tires and the tractor tires with dirt, and they were good donuts. Some of the best crullers I've ever had. On the other side of the river, so like I crossed, and then like on one side of the river was this little hole-in-the-wall donut shop. On the other side of the river, I think was a casino. Just a weird. Missouri's weird about gambling. They were weird about gambling. I don't know. Not sure if they're still weird about gambling. Yes.
Can you please take this donut off my plate?
Yeah, you don't want this donut? All right, I'll eat it. She's still at the age where, like, if there's food that they don't like on the plate, it ruins the entire dining experience. But have you guys ever heard that before? Soon as I love that tractor tires with dirt. You ever heard, like, yeah. No tractor tires for you. Come back 1 year. But yeah, I'd never heard that before, and I've never been to a place since that's like, yeah, hey Lou, give me a bag of 6 tractor tires. And like, no, there's nothing like that, you know. I mean, the only place, but it makes sense. They look like that. Casey says, sounds like the cruller business is serious business. I guess it is. They take it seriously. Pride in the work, I guess.
I want to go eat.
All right. She's going to eat watching cartoons now. But yeah, that was like one of the very few positive experiences of working in that place. Is that the fact that it was close to a donut shop. Running from me says, oh wow, I love donuts. Those look delicious. Good carb loading. Yeah. I was listening to what is it? There's an English accent on it. A Runner's Life with Marcus Brown. We're talking about fueling marathon, talking about making sure you have enough sugars, making sure you have enough proteins. That's not why I went to get donuts today. I went to get donuts today because I wanted donuts today. But I've been thinking about, making sure I'm staying topped up. Like the other day I did go for a run. I brought fluids, like sport drink with me on a run that I normally wouldn't. And I felt much better than I normally do during that run. So I'm like, maybe there's something this staying topped up thing. I've been trying to do that with racing and with my workouts, but not on my regular runs. And so it's just something else I've been considering. Maybe I need to make a better effort of eating before the run. But, I think that there's a lot of different approaches to that. As far as carb loading, that makes sense to me, like the night before, to make sure your glycogen stores, everything's like replenished for the next day, or you have everything that your body might want to have as you go into sleep and get into recovery mode. But I think there's some split opinions on like not carving up, but like whether or not fasted runs, which I inadvertently do. I don't always choose to do a fasted run. I just end up running in the morning, and a lot of times I just forget to eat. I usually remember to eat before a workout, although I forgot today. But on my regular runs, I almost never do. Sometimes I'll bring a gel if it's going to be more than like an hour and a half, or if it's going to be an hour and a half. So, I don't know. I've been thinking a lot about it, and I've also been thinking I really need to make sure that I'm getting enough protein throughout the day. I do eat cheese and eggs, so I feel like between that and like all the foods I'm eating as a mostly vegetarian, I'm okay. But I'm worried that I'm not getting enough because I don't count, So Casey, he said, I had a great donut in Alton, Illinois a long time ago. Wish I could remember the shop name. I just feel like random donuts from real small shops are the best. I love Dunkin' Donuts, don't get me wrong. Quality donut, great consistency no matter where you are in the country. Getting a pretty good product. But I just love that, someone's like, I'm going to make these donuts. I get up real early. Shop closes at like noon once people are done with their coffee for the day. And then I got the rest of the day myself. I wake up again real early the next morning and I'm good to go. It's an interesting lifestyle if that's all you're doing. But I wonder if I don't know if people are buying enough donuts to make donuts. I don't know. Like all those remember all those cupcake shops that opened up a couple of years ago? Those like little bakeries, custom cakes, donut shops. Like, how are they all doing? I wonder. JC says, are gourmet donuts a thing up there? I'm not sure. I think so. This is about as gourmet of a donut that I'll ever encounter, I think. Theirs are a lot more expensive than Dunkin' Donuts. And I will say that the ratio of donut, you're getting a much bigger donut here than you are getting at Dunkin' Donuts per donut. So there's that too. And they are much tastier. And I feel like certainly worth a premium. Are they a little bit overpriced? Maybe a little bit, but worth it. Worth it for a nice treat. I don't know if they're gourmet. Maybe there's a whole nother level that I'm not aware of. Terry Furlong says, I thought the whole point of running 50 miles a week was so that I could eat cake. I know for some people it is. It's liberating to think I can eat whatever I want now. But, I think after a while, Terry, you do that for a while and then you realize I could eat whatever I want. But you know what else I can do? I could eat to make those 50 miles a week be an even better 50 miles a week. And so that's kind of the point where I'm at, where I'm like, oh, I can turn this around. I can kind of weaponize my eating in a way and turn that into a strength. So that's kind of where I'm starting to think about, for the longest time, I've been procrastinating about really even examining diet all that much. Cause I'm just nah, I'm fine. I'll eat what I want to eat. And I think for the most part, I don't think I have a ton of changes that I need to make, but, I think there's a progression in this or a spectrum maybe that you go through. Mark says, protein donuts are becoming very popular. Usually you can order online and have them sent to you. I suppose if Kodiak Cakes is making protein cakes, then protein donuts is a great idea. I don't think could you make a protein cruller? I think it would be too hard, right? The chemistry of it, wouldn't that make it, because they're so fluffy? I'm not sure. I'd be skeptical if you're aware of a protein cruller that I could have sent to me. I could get dangerous. I think I would find my new sponsor. You know what I was listening to? I was listening to, speaking of weird sponsors, what's the podcast I was listening to? It's a Sandy Boy production, but it's not I'll Have Another. It's where does it go? I don't know where does it show the podcast I just listened to? It was Up and Running. Do you guys listen to Up and Running podcast? So I was listening to Up and Running podcast, and they were talking about sponsors that are completely unrelated to the sport. And what's his name? He's the golfer is sponsored by KPMG. And one of the podcast hosts was I totally want to be I want to be sponsored by a big a big five, or is it big five, big four accounting firm. She's like, so like PwC, if you're looking for a like a runner athlete to sponsor, like please give me a call. Like I still really want to be, and I told my wife this, so it's like kind of like the secret, right? You got to put it out into the universe if you want it to happen. I told my wife that I really want to be sponsored by Happy Joe's Pizza. And I even admitted to her that I've tried reaching out to their social media people, and I got a very chilly reception. I got no reception. I got the cold shoulder. No one's even acknowledged my DM on Instagram. And I'm like, it's probably someone's niece who's in college and is like good at the internet that's running that social media account. So like, I don't know, but I really want to be sponsored by Happy Joe's. But I could be sponsored by a donut shop. That'd be great. Or kind of like Mako was sponsored by Kodiak Cakes for a little while. If there was like a protein crawler, like protein crawlers, tractor tires and tractor tires with dirt on a trail run. Come on. Like the ad copyrights itself, the images shoot themselves. It's just natural. I just feel like that's what I want to. That's what I want to do. That's what I want to do. Matthew Stuber says Kodiak cakes feel like a guilty pleasure. They are tasty. We did like those microwave pancake cups. You know who ate them really well? The baby. Every time like I microwaved one, it's like when you like shake a bag of treats and a dog or a cat will come running. Like I don't know how she knew, because there's lots of things that get microwaved at my mother-in-law's house. But every time I would microwave one up, she would come over. She's like, "What's cooking in there, Dad?" So she loved those. I might have to get some more of those, because they do have a decent protein content. And I felt like as far as the other alternative things that I feed my kids for breakfast, sometimes that was a pretty good one. I felt good about it. There's a lot of garbage, but maybe I'll just buy like a bigger pack of it, and I don't have to like deal with so much waste. But yeah. Melanie Flavin said, I used Noon on a hot 2-hour trail run. Can't believe how great I felt. Yeah, lots of electrolytes in the Noon for sure. So I'm thinking like, I don't know. That's another reason, I'm getting into the waist pack. I have a couple more one more that I'm going to be trying probably, maybe I'll try tomorrow. And then another one that's on not back order, but I guess it's back ordered because it won't be getting to me for another like week or so. But I think I'm going to try, at least with this summer when it's real hot, just carrying more fluids more regularly so I can stay kind of topped up and see how that feels. Let's see, where is this one? Here, I saw something about SJD in here. Where'd it go? Rainrunner says, Seth has some really inspiring tactics in the nutrition department. I know he likes his baby food packets, which I also love the baby food, like the squeeze pouches. I know he loves those as well. He loves his Bobos. I've never had a Bobos product before. Everything in Bobos has peanuts in it, it seems like. So it makes it hard for me to order a bunch of it. Now, this bakery, Stan's Donuts, they work with peanuts. There's peanuts in a lot of the stuff at their place, so my daughter can't eat there. But during this live stream, my daughter's still in virtual school, so I knew like it wouldn't be an issue. And if the baby eats some, and nothing that I ordered today had peanuts on it, so I was able to get. I think this is fine. I felt comfortable with that level of potential risk, but yeah. I'll have to check out some of his other tactics. I don't think that I want to drink a giant glass of like turmeric tea like he does. He's got just like a big beer moss, and he puts a couple of tea bags in there. I just feel like that would guarantee that you're going to have really cold tea by the end, right? Am I wrong on that? I don't know. But yeah, he's always thinking, that's for sure. And he just ran in the Fresh Foam More version 3 this week too. I saw he tweeted about it this morning. That video is coming out tomorrow, guys, by the way. First run in the Fresh Foam More version 3. I got good things to say about that one. I really like that one. And I got some really great footage too. So that'll be tomorrow's video. All right. Let's do one more. Oh, Matthew Stewart says, you can totally make your own microwave version in the mug with the regular mix. Sold. All right. I'm going to order some right now. That's a great That's a great tip. I wasn't aware of that. That was like the big thing. I was like, even if it's not like recommended, I'm sure I could figure out a way to do it, you know? So I want to try that. Dylan Barstow says, have you shared your goals for Chicago Marathon or CIM yet? No. And we'll end on this one. Oh no, we'll end on this next one because it's about Voodoo Donuts. But we're going to wrap it up here. For Chicago, I'm going to be running with my buddy. I'll be pacing him. He ran a 3:26 last year. He'd like to improve on that. I'm going to help him put together our training plan. We've already been talking about the last couple runs. For right now, I just want him to kind of increase his consistency and just gently bump up his mileage a little bit. He's running about 40 miles a week right now. No, he's running 30 right now. I'd like in the next month for him to get to like 40, 45. And I think he could do that pretty easily just with a little bit of just mindfulness, just making sure he gets the miles in. And then we'll start working. We'll have him do a 5K time trial. Maybe we'll do a race together or something like that. And then I'll pace him whatever he's shooting for. And then for CIM, I'm going to try to break 3. I want to see how it goes with that. So those are the goals for marathons. Those will be the only 2 marathons I think that I run this year. Well, I guess I already ran one. But that was a low heart rate marathon. All right. Running with Pizzas. We tried Voodoo Donuts in Eugene, Oregon, where we did the marathon and half marathon years ago. More hype than anything else. Had to make the tourist stop, of course. I had Voodoo Donuts when I was in Portland. Did they have them there too? No, I don't know. You know what? Seattle, when I was in Seattle for the Tunnel Marathon, I had a lot of different donuts then. A lot of great donuts in Seattle. I think I had Voodoo Donuts when I was in Portland or maybe at the airport or something. I'm not sure. Am I wrong on that? Is that possible?
There's a unicorn one and a rocket.
Okay. Every time the commercials come on these cartoon shows, she tells me about these toys she wants. But they are good. Once a bakery gets like super big and you got to wait for like an hour, then I feel like there's no donut that's that good, given the fact that there's probably another really, really talented donut shop somewhere nearby. So that's the thing. I have a hard time like really waiting a long time, but you got to make the tour stop. I think that's a good move. All right. Steve 76 is a donut eating contest. Maybe we'll have to do that sometime. Wait, what? Steve says I've never seen a crawler before. I had to Google it. What? All right. Well, now you got to go get one, Steve. That's the goal. Get one and report back. I'm going to start assigning homework like it's a fight club. You got to get a crawler and let us know what you think. If donuts are your thing. Oh man, I'm excited for you, Steve. You've never had a crawler. I mean, maybe I'm hyping it up way too much. It's just it's all the things about a good glazed donut taken just a notch higher because of that surface area difference. It's really good. All right, I'm gonna get going for today. Tomorrow's video, like I mentioned, Fresh From More version 3. Lots of great things to say about that shoe. That video is coming out tomorrow. And then we'll do another live stream, Trivia Tuesday. Remember, we talked about yesterday, I'm going to try to find some celebrity PRs. I'll tell you the celebrity, and whatever the distance is, you'll have to guess it. So that'll be the game for tomorrow. Tune in for that. Hopefully I'll see you then. In the meantime, be safe out there, everybody. Thanks.